Are you absolutely kidding me? How do these guys do this? How do they do this and not play in the NHL, I guess is the second question.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto, and the dust is still settling on the news that shocked the Canadian soccer world yesterday. John Herdman stepped down as head coach for the men's national soccer team to take on the role as Toronto FC's new leader. There are so many angles to this story, for Herdman, the national team, and for TFC. So let's start with the elephant in the room, shall we? The World Cup is coming here in a few years, and Herdman has chosen to take on a new opportunity. That in itself is a lot to unpack, and we don't have answers to a lot of questions just yet. What we do know is that Herdman will take over for TFC on October 1st, and with that comes his first opportunity to coach at a club level, as opposed to the international stage that he's taken on since his coaching career began. This is going to be far from an easy turnaround for Herdman and TFC though. The club has the worst record in the MLS at 3-10-13, and in their last 10 games they've been shut out 8 times. And it's deeper than just this season. In the last 2 years, TFC has failed to reach double digits in wins, which is something they'd hit each season from 2014 to 2020. So John, your work is cut out. We've got tomorrow's TFC match on TSN as they host Philadelphia. Kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. To basketball, and Canada continued their run at the FIBA World Cup this morning. They were already through to the second round, but clinched top spot in Group H with a win over Latvia. Canada won by 26, but Latvia hung around. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 16 of his 27 points in the third quarter to help Canada pull away, and RJ Barrett did his part, pitching in 22. Canada was dominant in their first 3 games, beating France, Lebanon, and Latvia by a combined 111 points. Up next, they'll play a group with Spain, Latvia, and the winner of tomorrow's game between Brazil and Ivory Coast. And if Brazil does qualify for round 2, they will be Canada's first opponent. So prepare to get reacquainted with Bruno Caboclo. He's actually been Brazil's best player to this point, averaging 15.5 points and 9 boards. It's been 9 years since the Raptors took Bruno in the first round, and he's still just 27. To football, and we are going to keep counting down until the date is finally here. We are just 9 days away from the NFL season officially starting. That's right, we're in single digits, baby. And it's never too early to start talking MVP, right? Because this one is bound to be a talking point all season long. Patrick Mahomes is the reigning winner, and FanDuel has him as the odds-on favorite to win again this year, with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow eager to push for that title. In fact, the top 25 players on FanDuel's boards are all quarterbacks, which shouldn't come as a huge surprise, given the last 10 MVPs have all been signal callers. Adrian Peterson was the last non-QB to win the award back in 2012, but running backs aren't historically foreign to MVP honors. 7 different backs have won since 1990 alone. Here is something that's never happened though, a wide receiver winning MVP. And that's where Justin Jefferson comes into play. FanDuel has his odds at 100-1, which seems a little long after winning Offensive Player of the Year in 2022. Jefferson had 128 catches and over 1,800 yards last season, and have seen his stats increase in each of his 3 seasons. Mike Thomas and Calvin Johnson's records are certainly in reach for Jefferson, and if he can reach those marks, he might be hard to pass up. And there is some precedence for wide receivers to win major awards. At least if you look at college football. Devontae Smith won the Heisman in 2020, becoming just the 4th receiver to win since 1935, and the first since 1991. Granted, the criteria for Heisman differs from that for MVP, but the point is, times they may be changing. To baseball, and let's take a moment to appreciate the greatness of one of MLB's brightest young stars. Because Julio Rodriguez has been on a tear this month. J-Rod had his 5th game of 4 or more hits last night, and bumped his average for the month of August to .429. But that doesn't even tell the full story of how hot he's been. On his 13-game hitting streak, Julio is batting .526 with 5 homers. And if you narrow it down to the last 10 games, he's hitting a shade under .600. And over those 10 games, he has 28 hits, which is the most across a 10-game stretch in 26 years. And of course, the Mariners have already matched a club record for most wins in a single month with 20. And they've still got 2 games to go. This is all bad news for the Jays. But the good news is they probably can stop worrying about Seattle, because they're now leading the AL West. Instead, Toronto is looking up at Texas and Houston in the wild card, but they are still 2.5 back after a win last night. So pick it up, Blue Jays. I guess we just need Vladdy. We need Vladdy to just hit.
104 miles an hour.
No, well, you never know. You never know. She's got a nice grip on that fastball, ready to roll. This is a moment, and this should provide plenty of inspiration. If Sister Jean can come out here and get after it, Cubs fans as well as the Cubs versus these Milwaukee Brewers, you know they are looking to be top flight.
Sister Jean.
Warming up the arm.
Right?
She got a better arm than you, Cole.
She might.
Look at that.
This thing don't work as much, man.
I'm actually gonna cry. This is the sweetest thing. 104. Sister Jean, you angel. What a pitch, too. What a pitch. She did better than 50 Cent. Time now for my favorite segment and yours, Why We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
And that was Sister Jean celebrating her 104th birthday at Wrigley Field last night. Now you probably remember Sister Jean at the NCAA tournament, from Loyola's run to the Final Four in 2018. But if you don't, that's fine, because she was only a spry 98-year-old back then. But she's still looking good. Now unfortunately, since the internet is undefeated, it couldn't just allow her to have her moment in the sun. That's not even the same person. That's not even the same person. That's a different woman throwing up. Is that her but a different year? Because she doesn't look the same. It's a different video. That is so funny. Who made this cut? You guys, if you're gonna make a cut like this, you gotta use the actual footage from that day. Sister Jean's pitch did get plenty of love though, and birthday wishes were flowing online, including from March Madness, who I'm sure would love to have her back in 2024. And because Twitter spares no one, she did manage to get Javi Baez swing in with that first pitch. I love that Javi Baez is catching strays in a very wholesome and endearing moment. Sister Jean, we absolutely adore you, and you're the reason why we love sports today. That's all for today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 3 Eastern. No Pacific. Have a good one.